Hello and welcome to Yorkshire on the last day of autumn. Winter starts tomorrow. I am going to have a little gander at these new Nomads. Now, I've been following these things since they first came out, obviously in the big sizes first with a downwind and multi-discipline in mind, but they have gotten smaller. And what does that mean as a wingboard? Now, my normal wingboard is 55 litres, and there is also now a Nomad at 55 litres. So although it's pretty light today, I thought I'd best give the old girl a run next to the new girl and see which one earns a place in the back of the van for the year. Now, I have some preconceptions. It's pretty light today, but let's get them on the water and see if my intuition is right. Right, back in. That blew my mind, and not in the way that I was thinking of either. That's going to take me a bit to process that. So I'm going to hand over to the office where my future self is going to figure it out. Why, thank you, past Mike. It is future Mike here, and it's a bit chillier today, but it's been a few days now, and weirdly, it's got me really thinking about myself as opposed to the board, which is odd. Now, I think the first thing that we need to point out, these things are long, so it's not going to be any good for freestyle, not that I do that anyway. So when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about flat water and wave. Secondly, the magic bullet with these things is the fact that the sub-foiling glide is absolutely insane. If I was to put a number on it, I'd say you need potentially half the amount of power to get the 55 Nomad going than you do the 55 Phazer. Even paddling it out from the beach, I was like, hang on, we're going way too fast here for the amount of paddling I'm doing. I mean, it was so slippery through the water, it's like a complete different set of physics. And when I swapped back to the Phazer after riding the Nomad, I took 3 pumps and immediately got weed on the foil, so I tipped it over. But there was no weed there. I mean, not even a scrap. And honestly, my mind was blown. Basically, if you can get the thing to the surface, you're gone. It's got so much more practicality than a traditional board. It really is unbelievable. And when it's on foil, it's as well balanced as the Phazer, and the GPS agrees, you know, the data is almost identical. But there is one aspect to consider, and this is what had me scratching my head. Now, when these things first arrived, one of the first people to try them was my buddy Pete. Pete used the 78 litre V4 Phazer all last year, and when he got the 75 Nomad, it was an instant fit. Clearly, adding on a massive chunk of bottom end, it was a no-brainer, and he was immediately sold. But here's the thing, Pete has a lot more flow to his riding than I do. He's smooth and stylish, and this is him last year. Generally, he doesn't tend to use the last 10% of his control. He kind of meters out his skills to preserve this fluidity. Now, my style is admittedly quite different. If you give me a throttle, I'll mash it, and the last 10% is where I like to live. So when I reminisce on a session, it's the stuff that went right inside that last 10% that replays over in my mind. And this is why I love the Phazer. It's the most composed board I've ever had when I'm absolutely wringing its neck. And would I personally sacrifice a tiny bit of control on the top end to gain such a big bottom end? No. Now, it sounds like an own goal, and it probably is, but that's the thing that got me scratching my head. Why am I clearly telling myself the Nomad's better, but I'm not using it? Why would I fight to get the Phazer on foil when I could just stand there and go on the Nomad? Now, Pete knows me, and he knew this, which made me laugh, because for him, the gains on the bottom end, it's crucial for him in his riding, and he rides in light winds a lot. For me, I've been seduced by lithium on light wind days, so now when I go near a wing, it's windy. And if I'd not found foil assist, I'd need more bottom end, and maybe the Nomad is the holy grail for the dedicated winger. Also, if I was drawn to prone surf, the paddling ability of these things is just unbelievable, so for sure I will be using it for that. So there you have it. That explains why past Mike was scratching his head. And I can see why everyone reveres these things. Perhaps I'm just a little bit odd. So let's travel back now to confuse Mike and I'll let him sign off. Right, back to the past. I hope my future self has sorted that one out for you, because I'm still scratching my head. But I'm sure I'll make my peace with whichever way I decide to go in the coming months. And here's to a good year for you, a good winter ahead for me, and I will see you again soon.